If you would like to get your song reviewed, dear listener, there's the filthy capitalist option, as Sori says. $125 gets you straight to the head of the line. You don't have to be a part of the alliance. You don't have to be part of the group.
Wait a minute.
And the biggest thing is you don't have to wait. You hop, skip, and jump right in front of everybody. $125 gets you there. You do that 3 times, and you get mashed down to the $75 rate for perpetuity.
Yes!
Also, there is a band review option. So if you've got a band and you're trying to get your band some exposure, hit me up at insori@gmail.com, and I'll show you the details about how to pull that off.
You can also jump on Patreon, and there is a option on the tiers to be able to get your band reviewed. Yep. Obviously, we can't lie to you, so we can't guarantee a positive review. Get what you get.
It's just rubbish.
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 That's British for garbage.
My favorite is the community option. $1 at the gate gets you in at Patreon. You get to join an alliance. The alliance joins their points together, and that helps determine what songs that we do.
The alliances hang out on Discord.
Message me on Patreon to get the link.
And they do all kinds of other cool things. They do Minecraft, Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah. It's really a community within the community. Anybody can go on the village, facebook.com/Vin and Sori. There's 160,000+ people on the channel. What's cool about the Discord is that it offers a real opportunity for community connection, friendship, that type of thing.
And it's on Discord, so if you're not a Facebook person, it's for you.
You start off at $1.
Right.
Plus you get exclusives. Sori and I are working on a song. So the first 15 seconds of that was on Patreon. Also, at $15 tier and above, when we actually debut the video, they're going to be there live with us. There you are, dear listener.
Buy our merch.
Buy our merch indeed. It's how shall lead them.
So buy our merch.
Yes, dear listener. Yes, dear listener.
The
Yes,
morning
dear
stream
listener.
by DJ Franco is going on. We have another song by them that we are going to get to enjoy. What's the name of the song, Vin?
This is Breathe and Pow, not the blonde one. Is it Allie?
Danny?
Danny. How could I forget that name? Recipe to the homie. Pow is singing Breathe. So this is Pow. This is a drummer, and I also think she's the, what do you call it? She's a drummer. She's a main songwriter, right? So, highest talent in the band. All right, let's do it. Pow singing Breathe. Let's do this shit.
Pero viendo los ojos aquí, reunidos, es increíble pensar que hay 8,000 personas ahorita aquí. Y honestamente, estoy muy enferma.
Hey, Underdog, what record was that? Was that from their first record, their second record, their third record? I don't even know if they've had a third record yet.
She felt that one so deep.
Yeah, it's very interesting. I was watching her, and I thought to myself, we don't know, like, collective. This was from their third record. We don't know collectively how to appreciate beauty without destroying it and consuming it. We don't know how to experience that beauty and that transcendence that these people give to us without destroying them. You know, so it's like, and that's what we do to our celebrities. I mean, obviously Jesus is the ultimate example of that. But there's this drive in the human nature. We want the beauty because the scripture says that the Lord is beautiful, right? To gaze on the beauty of the Lord from his pavilion. So we're constantly searching for that beauty because it's an attribute of God. But because we're not looking Godward, we look horizontally. We then idolize these people, not realizing that we will always destroy our idols. We will always destroy our gods, even Jesus, right? So I'm looking at her. There's this other song. I forgot the name of the band. I wish Archero was here right now. But basically, it was a song where he was ventilating about how he's in this constant cycle of pain and he's writing to stay alive. But then the fans are like, oh, this is an awesome song. And then at the end of the song, you can hear him say, stop cheering, stop. Because originally when musicians write music, it's to keep them alive. But now it's like, it's so beautiful. The effort of survival is so beautiful that the rest of us are saying, we also need your music to survive. But since you're the channel of the music, we're going to consume you. Because we want that. And so that's the reason why we always have this pattern. Now we're supposed to be mad at Taylor Swift. I'm seeing all these memes about Taylor Swift. And they're just very mean things to say. So my point is, I'm just watching. And even like they started singing with her. And she said, hold on, let me sing this. Remember? She's like, let me sing this. The crowd loves her. They get it. But I'm like, yo, they don't get it. They don't get it. You know what I'm saying? And so like, we're still, I mean, it's across the board. Michael Jordan, Tom Brady, whatever. We always destroy them. Linkin Park lyrics, perfect example. Unfortunately, our brother didn't make it. But he was writing that shit to stay alive. And it's really interesting because she asked the question, is it wrong to want to be all right?
Yeah.
And where do you think that's coming from? They were already recording their album and went home to Mexico. Then the label called them and asked them to send one more song. Pal went to their family piano and recorded on the recording this as the last song.
The other part I thought was crazy too was when she talked about down there, like that. It almost seemed like that there was something that just keeps pulling her.
Yeah, right there. I'm trying my very best to stay afloat, but there's something down there that just wants me close, and I beg myself to breathe. There's nothing within reach now. So, but that line right there is it so wrong to want to be all right? Perfect in pain. That's a crazy line. So when Jonathan, so there's a Korn record. God bless Korn. Everybody knows they're my favorite band, but it's my least favorite Korn record. Oh, okay.
So it's your favorite Korn record?
Yeah, and in the record, Ross Robinson is this legendary producer, and his big thing is he gets the most raw emotions out of the bands that he's working with. Jonathan hadn't worked with dude for like 10 to 15 years. John, he went on antidepressants, blah, 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 and he got his head together. So when he gets in there, he's not singing with the same intensity as the first two records. So Ross tells him, get off the meds. So Jonathan gets off the meds so he can go back to this mood disorder and go crazy and scream and yell into the mic, right? And so there's this weird thing about musicians. Now, apparently her friend had recently died.
Oh.
And so anytime somebody dies, your own mortality comes into view. But notice how she says, is it wrong to want to be all right, perfect in pain? Because it's what happens is you give us this music that you were using to stay alive, but it's now making me alive too. And you can't heal then, because I need you constantly miserable so that you can keep giving me the music I want. So you're perfect in pain. You know, like we romanticize like the tortured artist or whatever. And if you looked at that documentary, who's the funny one? Who's the one that was making all the jokes? It was her.
Yeah.
It was Pal.
Yeah.
She's got this precocious personality, always with the jokes, very funny.
Mm-hmm.
And usually it's the funniest person in the crew that's got the most struggle.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a pretty crazy situation. The other side of it, though, is when someone dies, there's this thing called survivor's guilt. And survivor's guilt manifests in many different ways. Like, I've got a couple, I mean, I don't really like to call it survivor's guilt because I don't really feel guilty about it. I mean, there are situations, like, objectively speaking, where if I would have not been an inch off, people would be here today. Like, that's just a fact. It's not a feeling. It happened. I was off, and you didn't make it home. It is what it is. But then there's other things like I had a suicide, well, multiple suicides, but I had a suicide in my family as somebody pretty close to me. And at the time, I was in the middle of, jihad with my ex. Like, we were fighting all the time and shit. And so she started, this was my mother-in-law. She starts sending packages and shit. And so every day I'm going to work, there's a package at the front door. I had dropped her off like 4 or 5 days before at the bus stop. And she told us that she was going to Louisiana. She said, I'm going to Louisiana. I want to visit you guys one more time. So I'm taking her to the bus stop. It was the strangest experience I've ever had in my entire life. I went in to hug her. She said, I had to come down and see. She said, now I know you're going to take care of my daughter, and I can go where I need to go. And I hugged her. I said, of course, I got her. Till I die, I got her. She's like, all right, I can go. I pulled back, and I swear to God, I felt like I was on a movie set. I don't know if I've ever actually explained this to you, but I felt like I was on a movie set. There were like 20 other people at the bus depot, and I swear to God, they were all looking at me. But it was like everybody was looking at me and was smiling, like they knew something I didn't know. It was the strangest situation I've ever had in my life. It was like, it's like those TV shows where
Do you believe they were really looking
you
at you?
think it's real, and then you pull back and you realize they're just on a set. The whole thing was pretend.
Uh-huh.
It was that kind of feeling. And I looked at her, and she looked at me, and she just said, go. So I left. I looked back. I didn't know what was going on. I went back in the car. And I told her, I said, go where you need to go, because I got her. So I basically told her to. So anyway, she's home, and every day I'm going to work. I'm seeing all these boxes, and it's all my ex's, stuff from her apartment. And then, I woke up one day and, 4th of July, and my ex is like, yo, she's dead. So it's hard on that aspect to survive this guilt. Again, like, I obviously miss the signs, obviously. Like, somebody's offloading all this property. Like, obviously, so yeah, there were literal years where I would have moments where I was happy about something, the kids would do something or something like that, and then she would pop into my head. And you can't, how could I possibly be happy when I had such a colossal miss and failure? But at some point, for the sake of the people around me, like, you got to move on. You have to find a way to say it is okay to feel all right. I don't know her situation as far as her friend went, but
As far as her friend?
yeah, like, I don't know the circumstances, car accident, whatever.
We went back to the band members. Okay.
But as far as my folks, I mean, yeah, I could have absolutely made the difference. And,
Baby, you were trying to take care of her, and you were telling her, I've got this situation, like, I've got it all. Like, how could you have even known?
well, because she was offloading all of her personal property. Like, that's a pretty big sign. But you got to find a way to, forgive yourself for those misses, I guess. But yeah, I definitely see if you lost your friend.
He still is keeping that promise as well. So, for all you curious minds, he's keeping it.
Yeah. That girl's good for the rest of her life, for sure. But yeah, man, rest in peace to all of our dead, I guess. You know what I mean? Yeah, it's deep stuff. Okay, I should read this. Honor those that have passed by remembering them. My best mate passed in October. Too young. Have to really go now. Take care, everyone. Thank you so much, V, for hanging out. We have a bonus song for you beautiful people.
This one was a silent count for me.
Yeah, sorry. It's a silent count for me, too. We're coming right back. We have a bonus song. Thank you so much, Mike, for this stream. Hang out with us for one more song. We got a bonus song for you beautiful people. Shout out to the big homie Kai, Vin and Sori. We'll be right back.